Truth. Damn.
Hello and welcome to today's show. So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are, I don't know. So yeah, welcome. Well, I have finally got the wonderful Dana Louise on, who is amazingly mad and just out there. But in a good way, it's all good.
Yeah, no, I'm good for the pub.
Best way to be.
I'm good for the pub and the pint. And some scrumpies.
Yes. So thank you so much for coming on.
Oh my gosh, you're a delight. So hilarious.
So,
I love it.
Shall we talk about the book first?
Okay, yeah, let's just get through the housekeeping, right? Okay, so just so your audience knows, yeah, I wrote a book. This is gonna sound. Oh, look at you with a pop. Man, you are tech savvy. You're a younger generation, that's for sure. Like,
I won't go that far.
Yeah, so I got this book and it's crazy. Okay, you can find it on Amazon. And actually, my friend Miles Johnson, and I'm sorry, Miles, I don't know what city you live in. I can link it to you or tell you later. But anyway, he actually has a friend that has a bookstore. So this lady actually kindly has my book in an English bookstore somewhere near you, or not so much. Anyway, might be a bit of a train ride. But anyway, yeah, so that's all great. So I've been on a number of British podcasts and stuff like that. So God, I would love it to like super calm and see everybody and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, on Amazon, but there literally is a bookstore in England. Thank you, God, that has my book. And that's amazing. So thank you. So yeah, Barnes and Noble, but I don't think you guys do Barnes and Noble. Also, there's some weird eBay things, and then they supercharge. I thought they were like pirates taking my stuff. But then these book guys were like, no, we buy it off of Amazon and then we resell it. I'm like, oh God, I'm a boomer. So I'm just new to all this technology and how the world spins now.
Yes, a little bit different. I'm still trying to keep up with it all, but it just changes by the day. It's so hard to keep up.
I know, it is. But it's kind of interesting. It's interesting. Anyway.
Yes. So when did the book come out?
Okay. So the book came out April of 2023, which was great. But then this last February, this is what's so good, you guys. Like, okay, so here I am. I'm just a mom coming out of the cosmic closet, write a book. I have to self-publish it because nobody will take it because everybody was doing a memoir during COVID, right? So like no one will listen to me. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Because I don't want a publisher in my words, because we'll get into that, because like the power of words and all the kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't want you touching me anyway. So anyway, in February of this year, I got this phone call, and I normally don't take any phone calls like from strange numbers.
yeah.
Uh, but I was waiting for like a medical callback from, like a doctor's office. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it
yeah.
was a local thing. And so I picked it up, which is rare, which is divine, which was spirit. And it was a dude, and he's like a man, like I could tell he's older than me, which is really old. Like I'm old as dirt. But anyway, so he's like, don't hang up. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? He's like, I'm not trying to sell you anything. Do you know Don? My last name. I'm like, yeah. And then that really creeped me out. I'm like, dude, if you were selling me something, that would be awesome. But like now that you're talking about my dad and you're getting personal, how do you have my cell phone number? Like, I don't give that out, la la
Yeah.
la. Anywho, he's like, he gave me a bologna sandwich, which is bologna. I like to use colorful words and French. And I know you English people have, a lot of you understand French and stuff like that. But most
Yeah.
of this French that I use is not suitable for online streaming and all that kind of stuff. Because I don't know if you get like a ding for
It's
that.
fine. It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Is it a fine? I mean,
Okay.
like, or is your audience like, too genteel for it? I don't know. But anyway.
No,
Okay.
they're all rough as hell. So it's
Okay,
all good.
yay! Anywho, so the dude says like, "Oh, I bought this desk 30 years ago, and I was just recently," and like, oh my god, the whole story, and I don't want to get into the whole story, but the whole story is hilariously stupid. So I'm kind of like on the phone, like, and I'm like, "Wow, here we go, Dana. Oh, you found this file, blah blah blah," and I'm gonna show you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show you the actual file. And I'm going to tell you, for all the women in the audience, and you boys too, you guys too, gentlemen, about housekeeping, because I'm sure you all had dresser drawers or desks when you were growing up.
Yeah.
Something went behind, and what happens? Felt. That's the manufacturer of felt. That's how felt is manufactured. It's behind desks and drawers. It's like this thick gray stuff, right? And
Yeah.
so he hands me this file, but look how pristine,
Hmm.
pristine. And all the papers are like not yellowed, la la la. And it's all about my dad. But the thing of it was that it had confidential, um, I don't know if you want to call it military, but papers that my dad was with NASA and Wright
Ah.
Patterson. And I didn't even know what Wright Patterson was until like I was posting on Facebook, like to all, like there's a lot of elderly, I don't want to say elderly, but they're a little bit older than me, gentlemen who has stepped forward to support me in many, many, many ways. And I was like blessing them and thanking them, like, thank you guys for supporting me, like these older gentlemen, about
Yeah.
my journey and what's gone on. And then I'm like, so I took a picture, but I had to go up. So it wasn't my dad's social security number or his military number. He's been dead since 2010, but it's private stuff. So anyway,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
put it up, but I wasn't thinking, but Spirit told me to take a picture of this and post it on Facebook. And I'm like, so now I'm kind of obeying, because it's like some weird stuff's going on in my life. So I'm like, now I just obey. And I took a picture and I posted it, and they're like, oh, so your dad was at Wright Patterson, so he reversed engineered the Roswell craft? And I'm like, okay. Oh, news to me, but yeah, because even at my dad's funeral, a man came up to me and my sister, and he's like, okay, I'm getting in too deep in the story, but he's like, I don't know why they fired your dad. And we as a family thought my dad quit.
Ah.
So this gets into a lot of Montauk stuff and everything, and the super space
Yes.
program and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's all unraveling. I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting receipts. I'm getting receipts. And so anyway, this guy at this funeral is like, I don't know why they fired your dad, because he changed the supercomputer. Let me see if I have that picture. He saved
Oh.
this, he changed the supercomputer, and legit, and I don't want to hear about the negative Nellies because everybody's got an opinion, but I don't know if you've ever heard of like MUFON. We have it in here in the States, MUFON. I think
Yes.
they're trying to infiltrate you guys. Some people hate them, some people this, some people whatever. But
No,
anyway,
I know a few people that directors, I think.
so this was in the
Oh,
file, and I brought it to MUFON. I'm like, hey guys, do you know what this is? They're like, yeah, that's a computer. I'm like, that's got to be my dad's supercomputer. Because yeah, this whole whatever reverse engineering. Anyway, so long story short, and I'm a quick speaker, but I'm like, I was an infant in my crib, and I remember I have a first time memory, but I'm still in my diapers. La la la. I can't even stand up. And that's my first memory of the great aliens. And
yeah.
they encountered me for like 10 years or more. La la la. Another receipt. Here it comes. This is like the quick notes of my life. When I was 10, now you're gonna know how old I am. And okay, I put Louise on there. That's to cover up my dad's handwriting.
Yeah.
Um, and if you could see this, here I am, presidential visit, Rochester, Minnesota. Can you see October, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, 1970, special guest. Huh, I'm the special guest.
Hmm.
So here's the deal. They take me out of elementary school. I'm 8 years old. They drive me to this airport. I get this name tag. We walk out to the tarmac, and who shows up? But Air Force One, and
Wow.
just lines up all sexy, and then out pops Pat Nixon and Richard Tricky Dick. And anyway, and so and I'm the only kid there, right? Like it's in the middle of the day, and there's all these, this is the 1970s. So Brill Cream, Aqua Velva, polyester, sweat, cigars and cigarettes, Fabergé for the ladies. I don't know if you remember that.
I've
Anyway.
heard of it. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Graham. What was the Galloping Gourmet, man? Oh my God. Britannia just super ruled in the 70s. Anywho, so all the butts part, not that I was short, because I was basically as tall. I've been 5'8" for pretty much since I came out of the canal. Anyway, the vaginal canal. So I was like, meh. And then like these butts part, and Pat walks up to me and hands me a single long stem red rose. Okay,
Right.
very nice. I'm not thinking. And then I got interviewed by the media. They all rushed to me, like WCCO, KSTP, all the things that were local around here is mostly radio, a little bit of the newspaper, Boop-Atty-Boop. But when I was writing my book, I have this little voice, and I'd like to say it's spirit, God, I don't know, intuition, blah, 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 whatever. It said, look up the presidential diary. I'm like, what? Because I'm like, just so you all know, like here I am with my ear. I'm a golden retriever. I'm like, what? Get the ball. Get the ball. What? Get the ball. I'm like, I really love the innocence about me. It cracks me up. And that's why I kind of like laugh a lot of times. Oh, here's
Yeah.
my window security. Whoops. Oh, the CIA must be clicking on. Yeah, because they they followed me my whole life. Hi, CIA guys, I love you. Because I'm thinking this guy that gave me this file, he's
Yeah.
either CIA, ex-CIA, white hat, the alliance. He's trying to get, I mean, everybody, we can hate on the CIA. We can hate on a lot of things, but I think there are some people out there that want disclosure. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress. So I'm writing the book, and then my voice says, hey, look up the presidential diaries. I'm like, what is that? And so I start looking it up, and let's see if I can find this. My 3 ring, whatever. Oh, here it is. I gotta reach. So this is the manifest of the flights for that
Okay.
day. Like
Yeah.
who's on there and stuff like that. And if you can see, I don't know if my camera will do it. It says number 1, the president, and I think it's
Yeah.
like Boop-Atty-Boop and all this kind of stuff. But if you look, and people can freeze frame this, if you look, Pat Nixon is not on here, and she's not on any of these flights. So I thought that was very curious that here she is handing me a red rose, and she's not on the presidential manifest for the flight, which this is an official document, right?
Yeah.
It's posted for history. There's an official secretary that's assigned to the president because legit, and I got the papers, and anybody can go and look this stuff up. Look up Richard Nixon. What the hell was this date? I'm like, I'm a boomer. So, honey, October 29th, 1970. Please go look it up. And just so y'all know, everybody, I look up facts because if we're not pristine in what we say, then people can, poke a stick at it. And,
Yeah.
and we need to be pristine and like be able to stand on our truth. Okay. So anyway, here we are, and she's not on there. And so I'm like, and she's handing me a rose. And so now I'm writing the book and I'm like, oh, Sub Rosa and the Tudor Rose and the Masons and all this stuff. And I'm like, that was a Masonic symbol. Was that a symbol of my participation with the Greys? Let's just say that. So let's just say my dad reverse engineered. Actually, long story short, I think that because my mom didn't want any more children, I was kind of oops, my dad wanted me. It had been 7 years since the last child. So I almost feel as if I was like, they made me happen. You know what I mean? Like they made the pregnancy. Anyway, so here I am. Blah, 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 and so I'm looking up the Sub Rosa and all this kind of stuff, but I didn't click with me that this could have been an Illuminati nod or anything until I was writing the book. Right about this time, I'm telling you, because I had a microchip that came out of the back of my neck that was witnessed by my neighbor. Yeah. Yeah, because when she met me, she's like, dude, you probably have all kinds of alien tech in your body. We should like go to somebody and get this alien tech out of you. Long story short, I did it, paid the money, went many, many, many times. And then all of a sudden the screen came out of my neck. You got to get the book. You got to read about it. It's a lot. Anyway, so, okay, here we are in 1970. I'm thinking my gray, because there's a lot of different grays that I meant and all this kind of stuff. And I have I know that I got an implant in my butt when I was like 4 years old. I remember the situation, Boop-Atty-Boop. But anyway, I'm like, I think that the Greys ended and other alien species took over. This is when my dad said he quit his job. He was an electrical engineer with Honey, Spare Univac, all these kinds of guys, goobity goop.
Yep.
And we did not know as a family about NASA or Ray Patterson. Anyway, so here we are. And my dad says he quit. This guy at the funeral says he got fired. And then like hearing about all this Montauk stuff, there's a lot of things. Everybody's like, you have to write this second book. And I'm like, okay, I think I kind of do. But anyway, talking about other things like suddenly my pediatrician wanted to give me antidepressants. Look at me, my pediatrician as a child, like here's me as a 62-year-old. But as a child, I was like, what? You want to give me drugs? Okay, it is the 70s. But anyway, so I think he was like, no, we're done with the aliens. And I think they were like, oh, we want to sign her up for Camp Montauk. And he's like, no, I quit. And they're like, no, you're fired. But at the same time, you have to, because like I'm piecing this all together. So I'm actually live action with my own life, which is hilarious. So this is why I love everybody. Like, I'm just figuring this stuff out too. So we're all figuring it out together. So anyway, all of a sudden, I don't know if you guys get the TV show Big Bang.
Yes.
So Big Bang Theory. So there's this girl, Amy, and she's always wearing her nightgown, which is my nightgown, which is such a freaking nod. I think it's like literally a psyops thing, like this freaking nod. It like almost bothers me, but I think it's hilarious because she wears the same damn nightgowns that I wore in this time. This was a 1970s nightgown. Look this stuff up, man. I mean, because you can't get this nightgown today. Like, good luck. I don't know where you would get it. But back in the 70s, that's what we wore. It's like this little prairie dress with this wild design. It had like a yoke and everything like that. Just crazy. And when I see Amy wearing it. I'm like, it's triggering, but not really triggering, but it's kind of like,
Yeah.
oh, because it's Big Bang, man. I'm like, you people know. Okay. So anyway, all of a sudden, I'm a little girl and I'm standing in my front yard in the middle of the night in the dewy grass, and all of a sudden the sky's ripping open and ships are coming through and I'm watching it. And so like legit, I'm just trying to figure out myself and who and how I am. And I know there's all these new voices, and we can hopefully get into talking about these new voices of like, oh, the 20 and back and all this kind of stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I really like, if I didn't experience it, I don't feel it's fair for me to comment about it. If there's a click in it, okay. But
Yeah.
I just don't sign up for everything. I'm sorry, crop circles. I'm not on board. But just so you know, that just
Yep.
says to you guys, I'm not on board like, okay. So here I am as a child. I'm standing out there
Yep.
and I'm witnessing the sky break open. And number one, let's just go here for a half second. Because now that I'm opening myself up, it's like the screens are coming off. Movies that I've watched before now suddenly are clicking differently. And I just saw
Mm.
Marvel's The Avengers. There's a scene where the sky rips open and the spaceships come through.
Yep.
And like, that's exactly how it is. But I also know on the other side, this is what I love about this movie, because this is so much disclosure, people, of the filament. And literally, I'm just kind of like recently, like, I don't believe in the filament or firmament. I'm sorry. Anyway,
I knew what
firmament.
you meant. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, dude, you wrote like 3-4 chapters on the firmament. How do you not believe in the firmament? You've experienced the firmament. And so anyway, when I saw the aliens coming in from the outside of the firmament to Earth's atmosphere and the sky ripping, I'm like, no, that's 100% correct. That's how it is. Because I
Yeah.
know this. Because
Yep.
so here I
Yep.
am, a little girl. I feel like I was being enticed. Okay. Because I'm standing out there like, oh, like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, la la la. Because that's a backside contract, right? That's outside of my dad's permission. He probably said, no, 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 no. But then here's a little
Ah.
curious cat. And she's like, they brought me out here like, that could be permitted, right? We could bring her outside, but she can sign up for it voluntarily by herself out of curiosity. Evil, right? Next thing you know, after a few of these sessions of me on the ground, and at the same time, I have to tell you, like years later, whatever, but I understood, or they showed me the didgeridoo, Tibetan monk throat singing, the longhorn, all of these things. And even in gaming, they
Yeah.
call it Legion. It's the sound of, and that's the frequency that opens up the gate. So those
Ah.
people were with the didgeridoos and throat singing. They weren't doing it for meditation, because that's not what I was. I'm like, oh, they're meditating. Like, wow, that's that vibration on your brain. That must be amazing. No, 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 no. They're calling the sky gods, guys,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're opening up. They're trying to open up that portal. And I didn't get that. And then now I'm getting it. So I think my dad ended the contract for me, but they're nefarious. They come in through a side door, back contracts. Oh, here's your
Yep.
daughter. She signed up for it. So instead of me going to Montauk, because there's a lot of physical things in the 3D world, because Montauk is the 3D world,
Yep.
until when you to get there.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
They were giving me free bus passes at my elementary school to go downtown Minneapolis, where there was all kinds of heroin and child trafficking
Oh.
and stuff. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm telling you,
Wow.
they gave and I asked the other elementary school people, hey, did you get a free bus pass? Did you? No, 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 no. My elementary school. So here I am in third grade, like going downtown
Yeah.
Minneapolis, Hennepin Avenue and shit. And as a third grader, because I had a free
Yeah.
bus pass. Anyway, so there's a lot of that going on. So I think this was their side contract. They wanted to entice me and entangle me on their own outside of my dad's
Yeah.
thing.
So they was
Okay.
trying to get you to go on your own. Well,
Free will.
not your
Yeah,
your
sign
own
up.
free will, but
Yeah,
it's not exactly your own free will. They're
exactly.
guiding you in that
Yeah.
direction. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the shadow government. Oh. Mhm.
Oh.
So, yeah. Well, so here we go, people. Hollywood is so much disclosure, and a lot of people are like, I don't watch TV. And we can get into that about, oh my God, because the
Oh yeah.
TV is programming, it is broadcasting, and I think they are setting up for a zombie apocalypse on a Manchurian candidate level through frequency because you're all, whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
we'll get into that. But, so here I am. Where was I going with that? Anyway, and I'm like, well, where was I going with that one?
You've got the
So
free bus
okay,
pass.
what's that?
The free bus pass.
Yeah, the free bus pass, and I'm going down there and doing all that kind of stuff. But now I'm piecing it together as an adult.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, they tried to set me up. Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
so Netflix and Hollywood and all that kind of stuff. That is full disclosure. Oh, here's where I was going. Ender's Game.
Yes.
Okay, there's a movie called Ender's Game. So see, Spirit brings me back to all these movies like that I've seen before, but now I'm
Yeah.
seeing it in a new light. And that is legitimately what the super space program, as far as I'm concerned, they try to sign up children because, in their etheric states, because they're sponges, they're able to just pick stuff up and just go with it. They don't
Yeah.
have like all of this burden of attitudes and everything. Because by the time you're 18, you'll start to get a little salty and hormonal and all these kinds of things. So little children. But this is the problem. That is what's being preyed upon. That is what our gem is the children. That's what we need to protect and everything, because not only are they using the children for their screen value, but they're using children to be in these super space programs, and we don't get pensions. Can I like sue for that? Like, I don't get a pension. But here's the deal for me. I wasn't in the super space program. I was in the super space program and on the waterways and on the land. So what am I, a Marine? Because it's like land, sea, and air. Like a
Yeah.
lot of my missions were on the waterways, and you don't want to be on those waterways during those missions. And the trilateral and all the ABCs are jumping off and all this kind of stuff and boop-itty-boop. So I was watching a guy, there's Michael Salas or whatever. I'm kind of like new to him, but he had this Greek guy on, and my husband's like half Greek. He's like George Snuffleupagus, whatever. Anyway, kakavagalakas, like anyway,
Yeah.
anyway, uh, anyway, Oli Padilla. Anyway, so he was talking about the Galactic Council.
Yes.
And okay. I think it had to be about 15 years ago. I had a reading from a woman. She's like, ooh, your soul. She goes, I've never encountered a soul as whatever, wherever I come from. She's like, you're so woo, like back. And
Yeah.
I can speak to that because I've been to the edges of space. And I know you might not like, what? The edge of space. Yes. Boop-Atty-Boop. And she's like, I've never met anybody like you, and you're part of the Galactic Council. And I'm kind of like, readers, I'm like, hey, you're blowing smoke up my butt. I don't know, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like, Galactic Council, missed all the meetings, didn't do the fundraiser, haven't paid dues. I probably got kicked out. Boop-Atty-Boop. So anyway, this Michael Salas has this George Snuffleupagus on, and he starts talking about it. Here's the deal, because this is today. So this is
Yeah.
breaking news for you and everybody. So I want to give this to you as a gift. Like, so I sat
Thank
there
you.
down this wormhole today going, because he's talking about those that sit on the Galactic Council are the feminine wise women. And I'm 62, so okay. And then the special powers and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I emailed him and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I'll hear back, whatever. But here's the deal in my book. And this is the hard time that I have with me because it's kind of like there's me and I don't want to hang out with me because there's me trying to be a suburban housewife and just normal, like, hi,
Yeah.
you want to make some hot dish? I just want to be normal. And then there's like my whole world of the stuff that happens to me. And I've been in denial. But when it clicks, see, this is the thing for me. When I hear people tell a story like about ETs, this or that, I listen. I try to stay very open minded and everything, and everybody should. Okay,
Yeah.
like just segue. It's like I've never seen a praying mantis ET, but I can't sit and judge somebody that has because
Yeah.
do I want them judging me? I'm sorry, I've seen some weird shit. They have too. We can't all see the same weird shit together, right? Like
Exactly.
whatever. So you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to honor one another in everybody's story. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, I don't know, and I'm trying to learn. And this guy was talking about the Galactic Council, and he said that these people have special powers.
Yeah.
And in my book, when I wrote this book, literally, I was coming out of my fugue of denial and coming out
Yeah.
of the cosmic closet. And so these memories are coming back and I'm writing about them, but I have had all kinds of incidents and events that have happened to me, and many and most things have been witnessed. And growing up, I was always like, to God, I would be like, why all the witnesses? As if I was like witness shaming. And I'm like, why all these witnesses? Like, la, la, la. And God or whatever was like, because you need them.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed them because I would deny to myself that these events happen. I would say it was a bit of bad beef. There's more grave than gravy, And so I would just like, no, I would dismiss it. I'm a soccer
Yeah.
mom, even though my kids didn't play soccer. I just want to be a housewife. I'm in denial. But witnesses come back and they've seen what you've done. And so that gets reflected. Like when the microchip came out of the back of my neck, it was witnessed
Yeah.
by a neighbor, and I can't believe it at that moment. That's God, that's divine intervention, because that could have happened to me all by myself and no
Yeah.
one would believe it. But because she's she's an English teacher, I'm like, she's a stand-up citizen and stuff like that, and she's like, I saw the microchip come out of your neck.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I holographically changed an entire event center holographically, like a holodeck on Star Trek and stuff like that. I had no idea I could do that. I've never sat and gone into meditation and like, oh, what are your superpowers? Because here's the deal. After the Greys would visit me, I knew, this is growing up from infancy. I knew
Yeah.
that I was changed, that I had superpowers, like I could do things with energy and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My sister even saw all that. But there were, most often I would remember the Greys, but there were many times I didn't remember them, but I would
Right.
be changed. I had these supernatural powers again. And so I was like, oh, they must have visited me again. And I knew that the powers would last for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But, and I've levitated people. I've done all kinds of stuff. And so when this guy was talking today, I'm like, okay, well, what? You're spinning my head. Okay, because all the things you're saying pertain to me. And
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm a golden retriever. I don't know. So I find it very interesting. So I'm kind of on my own super adventure.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm like, to everybody that watches Marvel movies, because I have given out a couple of like energy exercises, because I don't think people understand their divine spark and their divinity. So this is kind of my communication to everyone. I'm here for the jailbreak.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like let's go, people. Because I get a little upset when people are like, oh, I'm religious, but they pray and they don't think that their prayers actually do something.
Yeah.
So I like to fuse science with spirituality because I feel like I've always known this since birth that science was going to prove spirituality through quantum physics, and it's happening. And so I want to, in a gentle, kind way, give the muggles, a little bit of something to shake them up and wake them up, a little
Yeah.
shake and bake,
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where I'm coming from. And that's why I tried to keep, a lot of people get really long haired and stuff. Not, excuse me. Oh, now I'm clearing. So just so you know, when I start to burp, and one lady on a podcast said she farts, I burp, I yawn,
Yeah.
hiccups, like it's a energy thing. So sometimes like I do that, and that's kind of like me releasing for myself because there's a lot of energy that might be behind it, like triggers
Yeah.
and things like that. Anyway, so if I have these divine powers that I don't even want to admit to myself, that I don't even know about, they come out accidentally. So the one where I changed the whole conference room, there had to be at least 100 people in that room, and everybody looked at me like I was a freaking freak after that. And
Wow.
so did I. I'm like, what the hell? Anyway, I didn't know that would happen, So
So
it's, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so what happened at this
At the
conference?
conference?
Yeah.
Good question. So me and my girlfriend, I think this had to be the late the late century, like 1990s.
Yeah.
Anyway, we signed up for just a healing seminar. Okay, just this guy, and he's still in practice. And we signed up for this healing seminar. It was like a weekend thing. And here it is. It's Sunday afternoon. It's like getting towards the end of the day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's like, and here's all these people. And I'm trying in my mind now to imagine, this is in the basement of like a hotel, a nice hotel, like a Hilton,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the basement, the conference room, they're kind of large, this banquet room, right? So it's a big venue. He's
Yeah.
standing at a podium. There's all these fluorescent lights. So it's very well lit. And he's not close to me at all. Cause like, think about a host, you're at a thing. And then like, there had to be at least more than 10 rows in front of me, and how many people in these rows. It was quite large, and Boop-Atty-Boop. And I'm in the back with my girlfriend. And so he's at the podium, and just for no apparent reason, he does this. He goes to the person to his left in the front chair, like the first clarinet. If you ever played in band. Anyway, the first chair. Look into my eye. And I'm like, what? And he's like, look into my eye. And my girlfriend, and we're sitting there, the whole audience, we're sitting there. And then, you see it? He's like, you see it? You see it? Okay. And then he goes to the next person. Look into my eye. You see it? You see it? And I'm like, to my friend, WTF, what the hell? I ain't seeing anything. I'm like, she's very like, hey, we're all spiritual. We all have different gifts.
Yeah.
We all see different things. So please don't judge anybody for this, that, or the other thing.
Nope.
Cause like you do one thing, everybody does something else. It's beautiful, right? I got
Yeah.
blonde hair. Somebody's got brown hair. What's the deal? So she's like, oh, did you see that? And I'm like, no. I also write about her in my book when we went to the catacombs in Paris. Like, that's amazing too. But anyway,
Wow.
so because she went with me anyway, so she's like, and I'm like, no, I'm not saying it. It was about the third person. He's like, look into my eye. See it?
Yeah.
And I was like, wait, because he's standing at the podium, and I'm like, did he just shapeshift? Like an overlay?
Oh.
And I'm looking at her, and she's like, yeah, I think he did. And so then he goes through all the people. This is taking some time. There's like 100 people there. I don't know. He's going through everyone. He's going through everybody. Comes to the back row, and it's us. And okay, just so you know, I'm kind of like, it's probably not going to happen for me, right? Like,
Right.
probably it's going to be a dud. Nothing's going to happen. Because that's how it rolls, like a Tootsie Roll for me. Like, it's, like, whatever. I'm going to be the disappointment. And that's okay, because I'm a golden retriever. That's how it happens. And he gets to me. and the wheels fell off the bus. At a certain period, it's a conference chair. At a certain
Yeah.
period, I found myself with my feet on the chair. I'm gripping the edge of the chair, and I feel like the best way to describe it to you, and I don't want to say energetically or anything like that, that this is the thing. It was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it was a gargoyle. It was like,
Oh.
and I'm standing on the chair, but I'm crouching to the point where like my hands are hanging onto it too, if that makes any sense. Like my feet
Yeah.
and my hands are in the same position on
Yeah.
top of the
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah.
And I'm just taking the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
vibration. Okay. So with everybody else, there was an overlay. You could still see the man, the host, the teacher talking, but there'd be an overlay of a different form and all this kind of stuff, like all human, boop-atty-boop, all good, do. And my girlfriend and I were describing, she's like, I think there's a black, his aura's black. Do you see that? And I'm like, I don't see shit, because that's me. Anyway, so because I see some things, whatever, but I'm like, everybody judges. Anyway, so I'm like, I don't know. And then he gets to me and I'm doing this. And what happened was he went away.
Yeah.
So if you want to say there was a little old lady in her like little baking thing, you're like, yeah, he shrunk, little old lady, like
Oh.
heavyweight. Or at one point, I remember he was like a Civil War soldier. He literally was these people. It was like he'd go. And then at first he'd be like holding something like a gun or, whatever it was. And at first it was just him. And then the room went away. The entire freaking room went away, floor to ceiling. And it was like, we're there. So if it was a mountaineer on a mountain, we were there. Just like Star Trek, just like a holodeck on Star Trek. It was amazing. And that's why I was holding this frequency. And we went a very long time and we brought up a number of entities. I'm going to tell you each one of them. And I don't know who or what that is, but each one of them. So to tell you the time frame, because if I say 30 seconds, like, right. So it would be like, he'd be like, this person. I'd be like, the whole room would change.
Yeah.
And then next person. And then next person. And it went like a damn TV channel. It's like, boop, boop. We went through the most craziest things. And we sat and like, so me in myself during this period, while I was experiencing this and I'm witnessing it, I'm thinking, does anybody else see this? Because I know I have done this before with other people. Like if you and I were at a bar and I was like looking at you or something like that, there literally could be a wormhole from me to you 30 feet across and you would literally be able to hear me as if I was talking to you. It's just kind of weird shit like that. Anyway, so I'm like, I don't know if anybody else can see this because I just think it's my own weirdness, right? So I broke it off because I couldn't take it anymore because it was just so much. It's a lot to hold that. And I broke it off. And I'm like, I looked at my girlfriend, I'm like, did you see that? And she's like, this is my best friend. I'm like, what the fuck are you? And everybody there, it was like a Norwegian conference. I don't know if you know about Norwegians, but they're all like, bunch of Norwegians. Anyway, so the affect. Anyway, like, even if they love you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So okay. So I'm like, did you see that? So I'm thinking only my girlfriend, because she's like got superpowers. I'm like, oh, I love you. Like, okay, she saw it. But then everybody was looking at me like, oh my God, like I just shot their dog, like I shot old Yeller or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was like one or two people more, and it was kind of like, look into my eye. And then it was just the facade again, back to that.
Yes.
All right. Yep. And then he's like, okay, now we're end of the day. And then like we made a circle and we're all holding hands. And my girlfriend goes, look at him. I'm like, what? And because I didn't want to look at him, right? Look at him. And he looked like an Asian, maybe Chinese, but from like 0 AD. Like he had this hat on, like this medicine man. Like the dude was gone, and this Asian medicine man was there, like from the third ray or whatever. Like, I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it was super cool. All right, great. But then I went back to, because he had a staff of people, probably about 10 people. That was his staff or whatever. So I went back to them like casual cookies and coffee, right? No,
Yeah.
because most of them backed away from me like I had leprosy. And one lady was kind, and she's like, oh, I'm like, have you, because I'm sure they travel together. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen that before? And she's like, no. And I knew that he was mad at me,
Yeah.
which was unusual. And so her and I were talking, and I got her phone number. Long story short, I got his phone number out of her. And so about a month later, I called him up, and I'm like, hey, I'm Dana from the Twin Cities. And he's like, I know who you are. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
And I'm like, do you know what that was? And he wouldn't and couldn't answer me. And so then I was like, do you teach about that? Because if you show this and you don't teach about it, it's just a parlor trick. But what we went through wasn't a parlor trick.
Right.
And so he was upset, and he goes, yes, I was pissed. And then Spirit said to allow it. And so he did. And I was kind of like, well,
Yeah.
thank you. But he wanted me to come to his next seminar, and he never teaches about it. And I'm like, well, why would I go to Arizona and get a car and all that expense, blah.
Yeah.
Whatever. So anyway, so that's how that kind of went down. But then today, when I'm watching this video with Michael Salas or whatever his name is, with the Snuffleupagus, and he was talking about these people having these superpowers and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to ascribe myself to things. Like people say 20 and back. I'm like, I
Yeah.
got to really poke a stick at that. I don't know. Like, just so everybody knows, I just don't buy into everything. It really has
Yeah.
to chime and click. There has to be something of truth in it for me, or I'm not going to say like I disregard it. I stay open-minded, but I'm kind of like, you know what I mean? Because I think that's what the general public is, but I think that's what we all need to be, because especially in today's world where there is AI and all this trickery going on,
Yeah.
this is why also I try to be very pristine with what I say. Well, first of all, my memory is fading, like my instant memories, not as much,
Yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
But I mean,
tell
like,
me
so I
about
can't
it.
remember a lie, and I don't appreciate lying, and I'm not that person, and I
No.
don't have a memory long enough to remember my lies anyway. And my life is so weird.
Yeah.
Why would I lie? Because my life sounds like a lie, So here
Exactly.
I am
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to swim
Totally
these
get it.
waters, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
literally, we have to, and thank you so much for your podcast and everything. We have to connect, and we have
Yeah.
to do this in the truth, because there's all these conspiracy theories. And isn't it interesting how we're all being confirmed? This is our great confirmation.
Yes.
So that's me talking a lot.
That's fine. It makes my job so much more easier.
I know,
I
right?
just sit and listen. It's great.
Just wind her up.
Right. Got a question for you. What
Uh-huh.
happened to the implant? So did it come out? Did it fall out? Was it surgically removed? Or
Nope.
what happened?
Nope. It's on the back of my book. Like the back page of my book has two witnesses. One was a little girl who lived behind my house, who actually, the Grays that came to my house, if anybody knows about Walton, there's like a guy named Eric or Paul Walton or John Walton. There's some guy that had he was missing for 2 or 3 days. And he had, I think, the same alien contact that I did, because my ship or whoever was visiting, let me say this, and I'm very clear about this.
Yeah.
I didn't see their spaceship. It could have been a wormhole. However, I can't say it's a wormhole because this thing was humming and vibrating. And a wormhole doesn't hum or vibrate, because one opened up in my house and almost ate me up. That's a whole nother tale. But anyway, yes. No, it's very true.
Wow.
Anyway, I know. And everybody's like, why wouldn't you put your hand in there? I'm like, Dude, did you ever see Poltergeist? I didn't even have a rope. I am not putting my hand. I don't
You
know
not
if this
even
is a CIA trying to off me. What? Yeah, you
you not
don't
even have
put
a
your
you not even have
what?
a tennis ball to just
Exactly
see if
right.
see
Yeah.
if it comes back.
Carol Ann, Carol
Yeah, yeah,
Ann. Yeah,
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Right? No, that's not happening. So I'm like, bitch, you do it. I'm like, I ain't. Like, I know too much. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, where was I going with that one? Oh, okay. So anyway, here I am. It's the 1990s. I'm just meeting this neighbor. I'm kind of getting to know her. We're kind of like, so have you read David Icke? Like all that kind of stuff. Anyway,
Yeah.
and like seriously, I told them about the reptiles and they flipped out and wouldn't talk to me for 9 months. Like that's how that was back then. Anyway,
Wow.
right? I'm like, and then they came around like, okay, we can be your friend. Reptiles are true. I'm like, thank you. Anyway, so so this is before that, and we're standing by the edge of her driveway,
Yeah.
and we've all done this. Okay, so just how I did this right now. So her and I are talking. So just like I did this with you, I was like, all of a sudden I had an itch on the back of my neck. And when you're chatting and blah, 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 you're chatting, but you have a secondary profile running that's like, I'm scratching my neck, or I have to fart, or gotta pee. There's your
Yeah.
other systems that are coming online. So I'm scratching the back of my neck. And I'm like, I'm thinking it's going to be a zit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I pick it. It's so disgusting. I'm glad I'm such a dude. Anyway, so I pick it and I look at my finger and I'm like, oh, okay. Cause I thought it was going to be some white pus, right? Or
Yeah.
something or whatever. And it was like dark gray micro screen. And
Mm.
I paused because this is the same chick that was like, hey, we should, like, you probably have alien tech inside of you. You should go see somebody that can extract that. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, probably. And we can get into that in a minute. Because, like, when I actually got tagged, when I actually remember it. Okay. So, anyway,
Yeah.
but this thing, because I don't know if it's the same thing because it's up my spine. Maybe it's the same thing. I don't know. I have more questions than answers. Anyway, people. So, I'm like, meh. And I'm looking and and so I'm like, I'm doing this. And then my girlfriend's like, that just came out of your neck. And then she picks it up like this and she squishes it in her fingers. And she's like it doesn't break apart. Like, it's not dirt. It's not like dust. It's not like what ash, it was a solid thing. And she's like, oh, this looks like a screen or whatever. And as we sat there and we're looking at it and our heads were getting closer and closer, almost bumping, it
Yeah. Yeah.
disintegrated. It
Oh.
disintegrated right off of her finger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I
And
tell
then
you
she
about
was like,
mine when you
okay,
finish this
yeah,
bit?
you had one? Do tell.
Yes.
I'm gathering closer.
Sorry.
Mm.
So where I used to live, a bit nearer to London than where I live now,
Mhm.
I had loads of weird stuff going on. And I mean, like daily basis. Everyone in the chat's going to be, oh my God, no, not this story again. I'm sick of hearing it, but tough.
Oh, this is
But
kind of like the holidays when the family comes over and you're like, oh,
yeah,
Uncle Fester's telling the same damn story again.
yeah, yeah. But
Gather around, people.
it's so weird because so I'm laying in bed, right? My side of the bed at the time was nearest the window. And we had like a white unit, and it was probably, I'd say, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And I just felt the urge to pull something from the like right at the top of my nose. Probably there. That's where it was.
Okay, well, first of all, hey, how old are you? At this time, not now, like at
Oh,
this time.
so I'm 51 now. So it'd be about 13, 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 13 years ago,
Okay.
thereabouts.
Now, are you picking the thing on the exterior or the interior?
My hand is literally inside my left nostril.
Hmm.
And when you can smell blood, so
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
obviously, and it's in your
Yeah.
nose, so you can smell a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
And trying to get this thing out, and you can see, even though there's no lights on,
Yeah.
and you can see the blood on your hand, it's sticky with
Oh
all
my
the
word.
other fluids and that
Yeah.
in it. And I pulled this little thing out. It's about the size of a grain of rice. but it was
Whoa.
hollow. So it's probably about 5-6 millimeters long, about 3 millimeters thick, because it was 1 millimeter all the way around, and then the hole through the center was about a millimeter. Even though it was that I used to sleep with the curtains open, so there's a couple of street lights and it was
Right.
quite bright. So I held it up, I could see it. I thought, right, and I just
Whoa.
felt absolutely shattered from doing it. It probably took me 2-3 minutes to do it. I thought
Oh,
I
you
was
worked on it.
Oh yeah. I thought my face was going to cave in. It was pretty.
Oh, that's
So,
not cool.
and then I was absolutely shattered. So I just put it on the bedside table. Thought I'll check it in the morning. I'll have a wash in the
Right.
morning. I'll have to clean the bed sheets and the pillowcase and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. Woke up in the morning, nothing, no blood, nothing on my hands, nothing on my face. There's
Whoa.
nothing on the unit, and we didn't have carpet on the floor. It was just floorboards.
Sure.
So it would have been easy to find because it was smooth. It had not gone anywhere. Could not find it anywhere. But there's no blood. There's not even blood behind the
Yeah, there's
fingernail.
no blood.
There
Yeah.
was nothing whatsoever.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
I remember as soon as I'd done it, I just went straight back to sleep. So I don't know what happened after that. But
Hmm.
summer
Isn't
doesn't
that
add up.
interesting how you woke
Hmm.
up to do that, then went
That was
back
it.
to sleep?
No
See,
other
this is
reason.
kind of the thing that happens, right? You wake up, you do something like a robot, and then you go back to
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Brother, where have you
So
been?
it was
Hmm. Mhm.
different. That was a different night, shall we say?
Different. Is that British polite? Because we say
Yeah.
interesting here in
Yes.
Minnesota. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
our polite, like, what the hell? Yeah.
Yeah. It
Oh,
was.
now I'm gonna clear
That's fine.
again. Sorry
But
for you.
there's other people in the house. There's all sorts of stuff going on when I lived there, and
Mm,
the other people that I lived with at the time, they experienced stuff too. So it wasn't. A lot of the stuff was just me, but I'd say about 25%, 75% of it was shared. But
interesting. Oh,
so Baby with Lasers just put about
uh-huh.
when you saying about the sky opening up.
Oh,
So
yeah.
this is when I was living in Manchester. I
Mhm.
had to say it like that.
Manchester.
And yeah, so it was this Friday afternoon and driving home, blue sky, no clouds, and there's a silver ball in the sky, and it just shot across horizontally. It lit up electric blue, stopped, then the sky opened up like fire engine red,
Oh,
vertically, sorry.
okay.
This object went through the sky and then it all closed behind it. Like nothing ever happened. I had to pull up. I got that. Do you know when you think you're going to throw up everywhere? That horrible, sick gut feeling like you've just been
Right.
winded to stomach. It was like that. And it's like, what the hell just happened?
You guys have so much going on there in England. I'm just gonna say, like,
Just
with the
a few things.
reptiles and everything, and all the tunnels and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that sounds about right. Sounds about right.
Yep. Yep.
Very, very true. Sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
But
But
cool to see the sky ripping open for half a
mm,
minute.
but
Isn't that
I
weird?
didn't realize at the time, I just thought it was just a non-earthly vehicle
Mm,
going through the sky. And then I had Jody Cook on about 3 years ago, and one of the last things he was saying, he was saying about a portal opening and
right,
something else, and it's like,
right,
oh my god, it was an oh my god moment.
right.
It was like that is what it was.
But did you feel, sense, or know that where the sky was opening, I guarantee you knew that there was this level or something, and that's
Yeah.
where the sky was opening. And so, like, for me, then, like, I had to accept that's the firmament, and that's a different frequency, and that's a
Mm,
firmament because you don't
yes.
see it in our normal sky. That's the illusion. But
Yes.
when these things come in and out, the actual firmament becomes apparent, and that's where you see the rippings of holes. Go back and watch that Marvel the Avengers where they come through, and I guarantee you that's gonna sting a little bit because you will know, it'll click like that's the truth.
But
right.
This is a weird thing. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off.
Oh no,
but
right. We'll cut each other off.
I just realized, I have literally just realized something. So
there you go, wakening up.
Yeah, where this ripping of the sky was.
Yeah.
I have a lot of dreams of, it'd be nighttime, I'll be walking about and I'm looking at the stars.
Yeah.
Then all this Star Wars stuff starts going on. There's a bloke that appears, a little guy, bald head, grey size, grey goatee, about 65, 70, and he'll go, "What are you doing here? You're not supposed to be able to see any of this."
Oh.
Now, that's reoccurring, but it happens in different places that I know. But the first time I had this lucid dream, it was roughly where the sky had ripped open. I could trace it back to within probably a couple of 100 yards of where that was to where this actually happened.
So you need to pinhole what is below it on the planet Earth. And I love this gatekeeper. And he didn't ask you the wing speed velocity of a pigeon.
No, or a swallow or anything.
Like, no. What? African American?
Yeah.
European?
I don't know. Yeah.
But see, there's gatekeepers. That's a lot. That's amazing. So you are interacting with the whole thing too. So you've seen the firmament. There's a gatekeeper there. Really, I really want to know what's there physically in the 3D world, because in Britannia, there's a shitload that's going on underneath there. Because you got the queen, the big reptile. Well, now you got the king, whatever. And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole problem with Diana. She's like, they're not human, hello.
Well, that was, I was reading that the other day, that she used to refer to them as the reptiles, the reptilians, or the non-humans. Constant. Yes.
Yeah, she was speaking truth. And why do you think her life got ended? Do you think she really died in that crash? I don't think that they're like,
no,
Diana,
no.
Diana, die. Yeah,
pretty much.
She's a truth speaker.
Yeah.
Or she agreed to off herself, because a lot of people, my understanding, I don't know about this, like JFK and all these people, I don't know about that, and the cloning and the this and the that. It's very interesting to me, but literally where you live, like that, this is like, England is the financial district for the reptiles, and the Vatican is the spiritual, extortion for the reptiles, so you guys, and then the United States, okay, so Britain's financial, Vatican spiritual, I forgot whatever the US is, but still, hey, hello, we're still under the powers of Britannia, and like there was never really, like, did we ever really part? We fought a little bit of a war, but
well,
anyway,
we're
still under your control. We're still a colony, and that's the truth.
Because I'm very thingy, like with Antarctica and the ice wall and inner Earth and all that kind of stuff. It's like, but the Second World War, did we really win it?
Oh no. Well, the Nazis are still going on, bro.
Exactly, but they go under a different name, Illuminati.
Well, no, they don't. They still go under Nazi.
Yeah, but
they're still everywhere.
But they have their splinter groups.
Well, sure. And just so you know, like I did kind of disclose this recently, because I was an exchange student to Brazil through Rotary in my Brazilian accent. But anyway, I went to a place, and you guys can look this up. I love shit like this. Look up this, because like I was talking to some other dude who was a podcaster, and he was telling me about another guy, and it's like, he's like in alignment with the Nazis. And I'm like, well, I'm Norwegian, so we freaking hate the Nazis. But anyway, so here I am. I'm 18. I'm an exchange student. I go to Brazil, and I get driven hours and hours and hours up this mountain. And I guarantee you, nobody knows about this place. It's called Gramado, right? Like Gramdo or whatever. Gramado. Look it up. Because if you were playing that geo map thing, like they drop you on the planet anywhere and you're supposed to figure out where you are, you would never know that you were in Brazil, because people are wearing lederhosen. I spoke German. I learned it in high school and stuff like that. So I got along, and I'm blonde. Like chocolate, the Bavarian houses, every flipping thing. So all of a sudden, I found myself, I was with this couple who drove me up the mountain to meet me. And I go into this man's mansion, and this is 1980. I'm just going to say he was a fat bastard. I'm sorry to like shame him, but he was a fat bastard.
Go with it.
And I literally was looking. So here I am. I'm 18, and I'm in his living room, and we're all talking. It's very polite. I've been in a lot of like societal things, so I'm behaving.
Yeah.
And there was just everything except for a Nazi flag. And in my mind, while I'm like doing this, like remember when like picking at the zit in the back of my neck, like Dana's always observing. I'm like Bugs Bunny, and I'm observing, and I'm like, oh, you fat bastard. Guess what? I bet you millions of people would love it if I just stood up right now and slit your fucking throat. Yeah. And that's what I wanted to do. Like that was going through my head. Like, I just want to fucking kill you right now. And, but then I'm like, I'm an exchange student. I'm 18. I'm blonde. I've never been in a physical fight. Like, I can't do this. And that would be awkward. And then I'd be in a Brazilian jail. But I was kind of like, I knew he was one of the boys from Brazil. And I knew this whole freaking town was built from that because it was Austria. It was Germany. It was not Brazilian. They didn't speak Portuguese. We were speaking German, and I could speak German, and everybody looked very white. I'm sorry. And Google it. Wikipedia it. Because I think it's very hidden. I think it's like Brigadoon. I don't think anybody knows about this place. So,
right.
But legit, I wanted to kill the man.
Just had a look now, right? And it is just north of Uruguay.
Yeah.
South
what do you
of
think
Sao
of that?
Paulo.
Those pictures. Yep.
And the images of it, you'd have said it was Bavaria or Switzerland or...
Exactly.
It's not South American.
No.
Whatsoever.
No.
It's like
exactly.
a fair...
No one knows about it.
It's like a fairy tale place. Right, let me share
Nazis.
the screen.
I love disclosing the Nazis.
Right, here we go. So this
load it for people.
This is South America.
Yeah.
Presumably.
Yeah. Eu falo português. And then there's Gramado.
And then, so this is the best bit. How?
Yeah, show the buildings, man. Even downtown. Like downtown. You're like, well, where am I? Bavaria? What the hell?
Yeah. It's just not... I've never been to Germany. I've seen...
I haven't either. I'm planning on going. I hope to go.
And
I need to go.
I've got friends in Germany.
Oh, yeah, that picture with the car. That one there. That bigger one.
This one.
Yeah. People look at that. Yeah, that one. Like, look at it. Like, unless you like detailed into the signs, because they're probably like some Brazilian traffic signs that might say this is Brazil. No, you are in Germany. I'm sorry. And that's how that is. And nobody talks about it. Like, I love it that I get to see behind the curtains on so many things. And this is why I'm kind of like, you know what? The Galactic Council is probably true because I find myself in these weird positions. And I don't know how, like meeting Hillary Clinton, like I got pictures of me and her, like we vacationed together and shit like that. Like I have a weird life. Like I got receipts for this shit. But Gramado, yeah. And I didn't even think of it until a guy, Marquis Williams, he's a podcaster, and he was like talking to me, and I'm like, okay, here we go. Here it is. I've been there. I've been to the boys of Brazil, and they don't talk, and they see, that's what I love. Everybody see me, my little golden retriever thing. Yeah. But guess what? There's a mind behind it. So I might look all sweet and innocent, and I am, unless you poke a stick at me, because guess what? I got rods of God that are going to poke a stick back. Seriously. I got rods of God like that'll poke a stick back. So don't poke at me because there's a whole big engine that's coming for you. And I love that. And it makes my life
Yeah.
so much more interesting. But I have had so many fantastic, and when I was in Brazil, I was hanging out with all the celebrities and stuff like that. Like, you don't even know, like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like all the ones in
Wow.
the novellas and stuff like that. I've had this charmed life. And I've always been like, why am I always with the celebrities? And like, I'm not like, how do I, like, why am I always in these situations? And I think it really has to deal with who and how I am and what I
Yeah.
am
Yeah.
that's benighted to me. I don't think I'm special. I just want to make some, sloppy joes for my kids. My husband never knew about any of this. I tried to deny it, but then the next thing I'm here with Hillary Clinton going, look at that bitch. Like, whatever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh
It's
my
true.
God.
And getting even my husband's such a muggle and a normie. When
Yeah.
we got the file, even he was like deflated because
Yeah.
I think he was like, okay, what Dana's saying is true. Like, he had to see these were classified papers from the military, from the government, and it was about my dad, and all these pictures with dignitaries and things like that. Like, the file is amazing and stuff. So
Wow.
I think life is like, you can be a earthworm, and that is great. And there is going to be earthworms, but I'm just so happy that people are waking up, because this is why I'm exuberant. This is what is bringing me joy, because
Yeah.
this is the disclosure. This is the prison break. I feel like this is the position I've been positioning myself for. This is the mission I knew I was going to be on since birth. I watched the whole world being gaslit my entire life. It brought me to tears. It ripped me down. And now things are coming out. And
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, and so I'm here for confirmation for everybody, and communion and community, all the things that start with the letter C, and it's just because if we stand up and we join forces and voices,
Yes.
they can't stop us. And I'm sorry, the Britannia tried to do to India. And India could have given a shit, because half those yogis were like, I'm talking to space people. Who are you with your muzzle, contraption, boop-itty-boop? You're going to shoot me? Like, like, there was such a disconnect. So there's the societal disconnect of trying to dumb us down, and that's what religions
Yes.
do to us, and they take away
Mhm.
our divinity and our divine spark and our power and stuff like that. And I am here, I make no flipping money, people. This is like volunteerism. I'm trying to help everybody do a prison break, and like, that's what I said. Like, I give
Yeah.
some energy exercises, because once people wake up to their divinity, which is what, if you're a Christian or something like that, that's what that Nazarene was kind of talking about. How
Yeah.
did that go away? How did that get
Mm.
convoluted and all that kind of stuff, like hijacked and everything like that? So I try to look at facts, and then I try to put two and two together, and I poke sticks
Yeah.
at it. I'm a Girl Scout. I don't like bologna. I do love. Oh, now I'm clearing because I was talking about stuff. I do love bologna sandwiches, so I don't mean to harsh on bologna sandwich. I even like liverwurst, and I like whatever. But we need to wake up, and I think
Yes.
people are feeling it, because they're
Yeah.
watching
Yeah. Yeah.
shows. They're watching shows, and they sense it. And here's the thing. Oh, because CERN, God, I am
Mm.
concerned. I am concerned, because here's the thing. I think we all know this, and even I'll guarantee you, when you drive, and I don't know, like, a lot of people don't really drive in England, it's kind of a thing or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But when you drive, it feels different than driving 10 to 15 years ago. You legitimately, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, but I'm saying it feels like a zombie apocalypse, like everybody's, it's a hive mentality when they get on the
Yes.
freeways. And it's
I
different.
drive for a living, and I've done
Okay.
for 30 years, 32
Okay.
years.
All right. Is it different?
So different.
Yeah,
It's become, I'm going to use the word backward.
exactly.
Yeah.
Dumbed, brainless.
Yes.
Here's the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The frequency, because I harp on frequency. Everything's about frequency. When you meet aliens, the frequency in the room is different. People, it's frequency, your voice, everything
Yeah.
is frequency. Like I get into it's huge, 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 huge. Here's what I'm trying to say. When people watch TV, oh God, in England, man, I don't even know how you people deal with it. But it's called broadcasting, right? It's programming.
Yes.
And
Yes.
back in the day, like back in the 70s, we knew they were doing subliminal messaging. We could
Yeah.
slow down the Pledge of Allegiance and we would see, or whatever, America the Beautiful, whatever they were playing. You could see the subliminal messaging. But then after the 70s, we didn't talk about it anymore. Like that all got shut down. I'm sorry, people. There's a shit ton of messaging that's going on, subliminal, autumn, like on every level. Because I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I feel personally for me, see if this rings true for you. I feel like there's a Manchurian candidate zombie apocalypse through programming and that's happening. Whoops, that's happening. So that because when people are watching TV, they're in their subconscious mind. It's kind of like when you're driving, you might be like, oh, I'm supposed to go to work, but you're driving to the grocery store. Suddenly you're like, where am I? What? Oh, I was supposed to take that turn? La, la, la,
Yeah.
la. Danger, danger. Will Robinson, because you are in your subliminal mind, you're not in your conscious thinking, active mind. And so when people are watching TV, we are
Yeah.
very suggestible. We're in a
Mm-hmm.
hypnagogic state. Now, you could be watching whatever. I don't even know. I don't even care. And I'm sure it's like over the top. They're seeding us, and I think this is the lizards doing this because I
Yeah.
watched even Elizabeth when she was little during the beginning of World War II and all this, and she's like, "Hello, Boop-Atty-Boop," and you could just see her little self and how pure and clean she was. And then the next thing you know, she's lined up to be the queen, and what I call it is the mantle. Humans have to take on the mantle when they're going to be in this elitism, like the
Right.
1%.
Yeah.
So I believe at that point, Elizabeth wasn't scheduled for it, but she had the DNA capacity. They take on the mantle, which is the reptilian frequency. So then in that case, then there's a major reptile, which is the queen reptile that's been running through those frequencies of that family line, not
Yeah.
particularly that one, but with the realm. And
Yes.
that's what Diana was calling out. And so you see these things. And so I believe, because I was like watching The Exorcist, like a documentary on it and everything, because this exorcist, an actual priest, was talking about when he does exorcisms, like people's eyes will turn green and slit, and that green and slit, hello. And then he said one time, one of them said, like, you have no power here, kind of like the Wicked Witch. Oh, be gone. Oh, you have no power here. And because this reptile said, we've been here before you, we've been here longer, you have no power. And when this documentary said this and I'm watching TV, I was like, mind blown. Like, nobody watching this show is getting this. He's talking about the freaking reptiles. And I have taken pictures of celebrities off of my TV because I'm at see, and this is part of me being part of the Galactic Council again, because I can see when they shapeshift.
Yeah.
And then I take a picture of it. And I know, Heidi Klum, hello, honey, I see you. And she does this often. And George Bush and all these kinds of people. And so it's great when I can take pictures off of my camera, off of my TV, because Google and Facebook and all these media social things, they don't have a backstory that, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
fresh and clean. There's a picture of, in my book, I have a picture of Trump. Most hilarious picture you'll ever see of Trump. Let me see.
Yeah.
Oh, I can look it up in a book. Anyway, so he's all looked like this. And to his left is a choir of Anunnakis. Because the one chick, she's got like her hair is like up like this. And like, that's bullshit. That's her elongated head. Thank you. See how my colorful French is coming out? Anyway, so her hair is like this. And everybody next to her has this elongated head, which you could say would be a fish thing from the lens of the camera. But I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Pence is standing over here. His head's still round. And all these people are standing like this. I didn't even notice this until one of my other spiritual friends was like, oh, look, they're all holding the same hand mudra. I'm like, what? Cool. So in this picture, and it's on like my Facebook page and whatever, it's in my book. Brr. Anyway, so they're all like this. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen corporate people do this? Bologna sandwich. Corporate people do not do this. And they're all like,
No.
looking like this, and they're pissed off looking. Well, one guy was kind of jocular, but anyway, and Trump's like, meh, meh. And Pence is throwing down the horns. Pence is to Trump's right. And he's throwing down the horns. And this is when they signed Space Force into being. Now, you have to understand, Space Force used to have the name of Ultimate Thule. That's where Space Force is centered. Ultimate Thule is at Iceland, I think, Boop-Atty-Boop. Ultimate Thule. Oh, look up Ultimate Thule. And then it was almost as if, I guarantee you, I was like busting him on this shit. I'm like, Ultimate Thule, bitches. I got you. I see you. I'm a part of the Galactic Council. I just like, that sounds very egotistical, but that is what was happening.
Yeah.
They changed their name to some stupid yes, in this moment. Like the next day, they're like, oh, we changed our name. And I'm like, booyah. Yep. I'm like, because we're seeing you. That's why I call myself eyes on the ground and as a witness and stuff like that. So I swear to God, there was something about me witnessing that. And then they changed their name because Ultimate Thule, look that stuff up, people, because that talks about Middle Earth, the ice core, and in the southern or whatever you call it, pole.
Yeah.
I've heard that there's a satanic palace. And they jump on and off. Like there's an ice palace that's satanic and stuff like that. And just so you know, everybody, whatever you think we can do this or that or whatever, we're so beyond that. Go watch Dune. Nobody sits. I'm sorry, David Bowie, and I love you because he really encouraged me because like, I wasn't going to put a lot of stuff in my book for the first 3 years. I was like, ooh. And my friend, the one that found the microchip, she's like, your book's very vanilla. And I'm like, okay. And then David Bowie popped up and he's like, if you're not afraid of your art and your work, then you're not doing it. I'm like, okay, David Bowie, reptiles. Anyway, so something's going on there. I mean, they're flying in and out and it's, you can't go there as a person. Why not? Like the general public, it's all very closed down. You know what I mean? I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
And your audience is brilliant. I'm sure they are. Like they're way ahead of me. Like I'm like, hi guys, we're in together. Right?
Yeah. We got a question for you as we're coming up to the 90-minute mark. Okay. This is from Elaine, one of the moderators, and she's asking, do you feel different now without your microchip?
No, because I'm a golden retriever. No. And it's a great question, and it's very interesting. Because I did get a microchip in the back of my butt when I was like 4 years old. And the funny thing is, it was just down the block from my house. And it wasn't until I was writing my book that I realized that the neighbor's house where during the daytime, and I'm 4 years old and I got stung with a scoop out of the back of my butt, was with taller gray aliens. And it was my dad's boss's house. And I was like, oh, snap. Of course. Did I feel different? I'm not sure if that chip was the one that came from my rear end.
Yeah.
And it traveled all the way up my spine. I always say, in all fairness, I'm clueless and I don't know, but I didn't feel different. What purpose did that microchip do? Because I'm going to tell you, I was still in the super space program for probably 10 more years after that chip came out, like with the white hats, with being on different ships and stuff like that, waterways and everything. And I'm telling you, 3 body problem, very triggering when they went through the canal, because I'm like, shit, I've been on those waterways. What's going on in the canal? Anyway, so that's another sidebar. But no, so I think whatever it was defunct. It
Right.
probably could have been tied into some things. I'm going to say, in all fairness, I feel as if it was more of the right side of my, well, very close to my okay, I'm getting the chills. Okay, it was attached to my spinal column because I got the chills.
Ooh.
But it was defunct and was pulling off, but I think her name was Wentworth. I can't, something Wentworth, and I can bring this up to other people, but she was
Yeah.
doing all of these things to me to take, literally, I was paying somebody to take alien tech out of me, and then this thing came out. And that my
Ah.
girlfriend and I crapped our pants because we were like, shit, that $300 I just paid for that healing worked. And I
Yeah.
didn't believe it.
Yeah.
Please no, I don't believe in anything. I just come from that. That's why I call myself a sorceress. Source, source energy, the beginning. I like
Yes.
to go to the beginning of something because I think humans mess it all up. So
Yeah.
like, where is the original point of this? This is where, like a scientist, I always want to go back to the beginning of this. So what did that chip do? I don't know. I know it was on this side a little bit more where the zit was.
Yeah.
How it got there, I am clueless. What it did, I almost feel like in my heart, like more of a tracking device.
Yeah.
But I also know I have stories of waking up in the middle of the night and actually 3D witnessing UFOs that other people talked about on the TV the next day and stuff like that. Like, I
Wow.
have these, I know, like, if I hadn't
Ah,
experienced my own life for myself, I would say, you're full of bologna sandwiches, beans and bupkis, legit.
yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
have to be jocular with it. Oh, are we coming up to the 90 minutes? Like,
Yes, we are. We are. But you've just pointed something out to me. I don't know if you noticed that you'd done it,
what?
but when you said well, we was talking about words before we came on air,
Mm-hmm.
and like how you say it and the meaning and how the spelling and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you said realize when you realize some real
Eyes.
eyes,
Real eyes. It's always real
real
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm a weird
that's
wordsmith.
so.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna just tell you this really quickly. Even Laura Eisenhower, I don't know if you know who she is, or some
Yes.
people
Yeah.
like
I've
how you
interviewed her a
care
few
about her.
times. Yeah.
She
Yeah.
did a little reading on me, and she goes, and she knew this, and I've had people message me when they read my book, because legit people, I understand words and sigils and stuff like that, and words and letters and spelling and all this kind of stuff really, really quickly. So I
Yeah.
had to be in a good place when I wrote it. And literally my energy is in these books.
Yeah.
And so it unlocks things for people. It activates people. And I didn't mean for that to happen, but people are telling me that it's happening. And so a lot of wordsmithing was coming up while I'm reading the book, writing the book and stuff like that. La la la. Like, it's interesting. And when you go through it, because
Mm,
I write it very conversational, but that's because it had to be my heart to your heart.
yes.
My heart
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
heart. So legitimately, I don't know if, like, people say magic or spelling or, like, whatever it is, it's my prayer
Yes.
to humanity. It is my powers, my divinity, my sigils. Oh my God. And I've gonna make me cry now. And I put this in this
Sorry.
book and I share it with all of you. I share my energy with you, and I hope it
Thank
activates
you.
you. I hope it
Thank you.
activates
Really
you.
appreciate it.
Prison break, baby.
No, but when you speak to people like yourself,
Yeah.
and it's just you pick up little bits and pieces of what they're saying, and
Yeah.
you add it to what you've already got, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
I know.
It's just
Isn't
this
life way more
string
interesting?
of, yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is.
I love you guys. Thank
Thank
you so much.
No, thank you for coming on.
Mm.
Absolutely amazing.
Come back
You are.
again. Come around.
Yeah, you can come on again. You're more
Yeah,
than
let me
welcome to
know.
come
I'm
on.
happy because
Yeah, yeah.
I got so much shit to talk about, man.
Yeah, you know
It's
what?
endless. We can talk for 12 hours. We'll live stream. We'll do an all-nighter. It'll be like Norwegian slow TV. Only it'll be like I don't know if you
Yeah,
know what that is.
no.
I was on a reality show there, so anyway.
Yes, it's in your bio. I have put it on
Yeah,
the show
all for an
notes.
art. I know.
Yes,
It's
yeah,
called
yeah.
manifesting. Another one of my weird things, attributes. But
Yes,
thank you all to
manifestation is
everybody
amazing.
watching. And
No,
thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Andy, for having me on your show.
No,
It
thank you,
really
Dana, for coming on. Absolutely amazing. And this is also going out on podcast, so this will be uploaded to Spotify, Apple Podcast,
awesome.
and all the others within about 40 minutes. So you can listen back on there, or you can watch back on YouTube. Your choice.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you so much. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Thank you, all the new subscribers. If you do want to help support the show, you can do that by going on Patreon. And then you can go on to.
I'm trying to point at things.
Yep, sorry. I'm just gonna put it up. I'm just trying to find it. Where is it? Where is it? It's gone. Here we go. Patreon. Yeah, so you can help support the show. You can do it via PayPal. You can donate via there. Every little bit helps and just helps with the running of the show. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
right.
Support.
Yes, that's it. So gonna go now. I'm back on Wednesday with Paul Howard of Hosts for Ghosts. That's a part 2, and he's going to be with Angela. I cannot remember who Angela is or what she's part. I'm sure she's a medium or something like that, but she does part of the big into the paranormal side and mediumship and all that kind of stuff.
We got to talk about ghosts and angels too, dude.
Oh yes, 100%.
Shit going on.
Yes,
oh, yeah, and
definitely.
heaven. I got dragged up to heaven one day.
Oh wow.
I know.
Don't give anything. Don't give anything else away. We'll stop on that. And then on Friday, Nicole is not with us. That's co-host. She normally does Wednesdays and Fridays. We have Gerald and Jane, Midwest Night Watchers and Chiro Sound. So they're with us on Friday, same time. So busy week this week.
Awesome.
Have an amazing 2 days, everyone. I will see you same time on Wednesday. We'll have Paul Howard, host for Goals. So take care, everyone, and goodbye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Goodbye.